Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin James and I was paired with Amanda Smithson, and we're going to discuss the case study about Maria, a student who's struggling to choose a particular major based on her strengths and family demands. So here are some of the main issues we identified. First off, she's wanting to change her major, even though she's enjoyed engineering classes and she's doing well in them. Her family expectations are pretty demanding. She's driving home each weekend, which makes us wonder how much her family is contributing to her expenses for gas and parking on campus. This also makes it hard for her to get involved in school as she's having trouble joining group projects. It makes it hard for her to feel integrated into campus life, making friends, joining organizations, which can be so crucial for the freshman year. We also must consider the cultural expectations of her family. She wants freedom, but she feels restricted by them because of their limitations and what she's expected to do each weekend. The career opportunities in her hometown are limited, so they want her to return home anyway whenever she's done school. So she's kind of stuck in a dilemma there. The other thing that's unique is that typically Hispanic females are not expected to go to college in the first place. But she's been able to do this. So her family is unique, but they still want her close to home. So there's still this kind of balance with that of letting her go, but wanting to make sure she's close to her family. We should also recognize that Maria is impressive as she's been admitted to an engineering program. The book supports this as Brown states that tradition and sex role stereotyping may persuade women to stay away from STEM. So she's already overcome some barriers there. We need to know who's making the decisions in the family as well for Maria's career, because this can inform how we apply our theories. We also have to consider the limitations. We don't know the income level of the student. She may have received a full ride, but based on merit or test score, but a full ride doesn't necessarily mean that she's low income. She also has a car, but we don't know the quality of it either. We're also stereotyping the student based on the information given. She may be Mexican American, but she may not identify strongly with it and those cultural expectations. So there's a lot to kind of understand from that. She's also been given permission to go to college, which isn't unique, or is kind of unique by their family. In the real world, also addressing these issues on the spot may make applying these theories challenging, because students don't always respond in the way that we expect them to. So some of the theories that we chose include Holland's theory of vocational choice. This is applicable considering the information provided with Maria's Holland code score and how this could best guide her to finding alternative major choices. This theory takes into consideration her personality and the respective environments she ought to be in to be successful. Maria's Holland code was RCS. Realistic is the highest at 50, placing it first. Conventional is then placed second, even though it's at 40, as is social, the next one, because it's adjacent to realistic on Holland's hexagon. This is important because people with consistent or adjacent personality profiles will have an easier time making a career choice. Social was also similarly strong at 40, placing it third. We'll also take this into consideration if she decides to explore majors outside of engineering, because she'll be most successful in these types of environments that relate to her code. While social is not completely consistent with the hexagon and where her scores were, this does increase her options, but it may also make it a little bit more challenging for her to find the best path for her. The instrument we'd use to provide career suggestions would be the ONET Interest Profiler, as it's easy to access and understand for students to learn more about respective careers. And because of her background as a Hispanic female, we'll use values-based multicultural career counseling, as this will best guide how we approach the situation, discuss her options, and come to a conclusion for a pathway for her future.
Hey everyone, I'm Amanda and this is the second part of our video. I'm going to pick up where Caitlin left off and talk about some of the strategies that we'll use when we actually have Maria in a counseling session. So first of all, we really want to get to know her a little bit better. We want to assess some of the cultural variables that she's bringing with her to the college life, and to figure out how they are relegating the way that she lives. What's influencing her decision making right now? the best way to do this is we don't want to corner her. We don't want her to ask her any really direct questions that make her feel uncomfortable. She doesn't really know us. So we want to ease into this relationship with her, and that's just by creating a communication style that meets her expectations and to just kind of make her feel at ease. So just a little bit of chit chat, talking about her interests, her family, her classes, just kind of safe subjects that delve a little bit deeper into who she is and make her feel comfortable with us as well. Next, we really want to get into what brought her here at this moment. Did something happen in her life that pushed her to come and seek out counseling for her career choices? Was there a fight that happened between her parents and her, or with a classmate, or her grade slipping? Is she just tired? Is she just worn out from having to drive 5 hours every weekend to go home and see her family? So let's address the instant concern that she may have and help her work through that so that she can get past it and moved on to the next phase of this process, which is kind of setting some goals for her life so that she can make a decision on her own. So there's a few things to keep in mind when we're going through the goal setting process. First of all, we want to encourage her to look towards her future, help her to visualize what she wants from her life. Where does she see herself in 5 years and 10 years? So giving her that opportunity to kind of think about not today, but 10 years down the road will help her to determine what's important to her when it's time to set these goals. Next, we want to steer her away from any fatalistic thinking. Avoid the always and nevers. We don't want her to say, I always do this, or I never do this. We want her to think that there's a lot of possibilities and options available to her, because there are. And this might be something that is unusual to her because she's lived a very restricted life with her parents. At the same time, while we're talking about avoiding our always and nevers, we want to make sure that she's being realistic, especially in regard to her familial obligations. If her mother expects her to live close by, then, maybe moving to a foreign country may not be something that is a goal she should set without talking to her mother first. So managing her expectations with the goal setting process and what she has the potential to do. That doesn't mean that we're going to limit her. It just means we're going to bring her down when we need to face the situation at eye level. As we're setting goals, there are a few things to keep in mind. And this might be something that you might want to send Maria away with, this information, because you have 3 meetings with her. So in that first meeting, we've gotten to know her a little bit better, and then we've started this process with her where we're having her think about the future. So then let's send her away to think about her goals and come back to us with a little bit more of an idea of what she wants. So as she's setting her goals, these are things to keep in mind. She needs to make sure that her goals are specific but flexible. These are not hard and fast rules for her life. These are guidelines. The goals should be measurable and have observable outcomes. We need to be able to make sure that the goals are working. If they're not working, we need to be able to make changes, and you have to measure those to make those things happen. Next, they should have a time frame for progress and achievement. We don't want to make a goal and just forget about it. She needs to have a timeline so that she can meet the goal in the time that she expects it to have happened within. And then the last thing is she needs to be realistic about the achievement of these goals. We need to make sure that she is setting goals that she can meet. Now, having said that, we need to make sure that these are not just meeting the limited expectations that she has, but kind of exceeding her own expectations if needed. As she's going through this process, it's important for her to play out some of the scenarios that could happen. So the best case, the worst case, and the most likely scenarios, so that she knows the consequences, or she has a little bit of an understanding of the consequences of what the goal completion will mean to her. In addition, setting these goals and thinking about the process in a scenario of best case, worst case is also helpful. As we go through and she's made these goals, we need to help her meet them. So developing timelines to get the goals met, to make sure that she's staying on track, helping her find the resources that she might need to explore other majors or career options, whether they be online, maybe it's a more comprehensive personality assessment like a Myers-Briggs. If she chooses to stay in engineering, or if she just feels like she needs a little bit more freedom from her family, then let's coach her or help her find somebody on campus who can coach her to work with her parents to kind of loosen the reins. And then last, the advocacy part of this is that we want her to reflect on her goals and determine what's working and what's not working. Life throws you curveballs all the time, so we want to make sure that she's able to address those changes in her life and stay on her path. And this can be done very casually through emails or telephone calls, or with just infrequent meetings, just checking in with her until she gets to where she needs to go. Obviously 3 meetings isn't going to be enough for us to change this girl's life. So kind of sticking with her and checking in with her and making sure that she is on the right track would be a very big benefit for her.